Babies born with sickle cell disease in Kisumu County are likely to live longer, thanks to collaborations between the county government of Kisumu, Novartis, Parkin Elmer, and the American Society of Hematology, even as they come together to launch Neonatal Screening for Sickle Cell Disease initiative. This initiative will see to it that 38,000 children are screened annually for sickle cell, since this is the population at risk. In this, case finding is continuous and not a one-off. The newborn screening aims to demonstrate that early diagnosis impacts on 100% transition beyond 5 years. Early detection of sickle cell gives time to institute the preventive and therapeutic measures necessary. The newborn screening aims to demonstrate that early diagnosis impacts on 100% transition beyond 5 years. Early detection of sickle cell gives time to institute the preventive and therapeutic measures necessary. The screening commences with mother sensitization while in the wards to understand the risk, as well as give consent for their babies to undergo a screening procedure. Blood samples are collected and screened twice a week in large scale so that testing is cost effective. Testing is done using the Migele machine recently installed at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital.
The acquisition of the Migele machine in JOOTRH is a major milestone in the war against sickle cell disease. It's a major point in the history of medicine in this country because sickle cell, for all intents and purposes, has been perceived as something without a solution. We know that there are families which have gone beyond 5 years. Children have gone beyond 5 years of age in survival. And even in our midst, there are people who have gone beyond 25 years of age, have reached 28 years, a few have reached 40, but that was purely by chance, without certain interventions. But bringing in this machine, which will make a diagnosis of sickle cell disease in infants, knowing it early will help us to start interventions.
And as soon as we make that diagnosis, then we begin them on therapeutic interventions. And the interventions are fairly simple. The interventions that we are offering for our children are really readily available, yet they have been shown to improve the quality of life. They've been shown to make them have more painless, sort of pain-free life, and they're able to live longer and achieve their life's potential. So among the things we do, once a baby is diagnosed with sickle cell disease, we ensure they all receive their basic vaccines. And the vaccines are offered by government, so they're in government hospitals. We just want to make sure that they don't miss any of those vaccines. Especially the pneumococcal vaccine that is given at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks. But of course, all the other vaccines, the hemophilus vaccine, and we call it pentavalent vaccine. We want them to get all the basic vaccines. But we also encourage them to get booster vaccines later on in life. There are a few other vaccines that we want them to receive that may not be in government hospitals, but they can get them out there for those that may be able to afford. One of them is called meningococcal vaccine, also very important for purposes of preventing infections with certain bacteria. And beyond vaccinations, when the babies turn about 2 months of age, we want to start them on penicillin prophylaxis.
Samples are stored at room temperature for at least 24 hours, after which the samples are processed.
Capturing of the and preparation of your worksheets. Okay. Preparation of your worksheet, so that because we are going to at least process at least 80 samples per particular tester. Now, our specimens, we are going to prepare it using this this cassette is called microplate. Yeah? Number 1. We'll also need a worksheet. It should be similar to the microplate. You can see number 1, 2, up to 10. Eh? Here, in the microplate, you are likely to see number 1 up to 10. Then, here, you will also see A, B, C, D up to H. So our preparation will be in this line, the whole of this line. Yeah? We'll begin to write the unique identification code or number. We don't write the names. Yeah. For each particular specimen, DBS specimen. So we'll take, let's say like this number, 76971. We write this number at number 1. We take this 1A, yes, 1A, and we'll indicate our result like our result at the end of the day will look, our worksheet, not the result, will look like this. We will take one of these, like 76908. After taking it, you make sure you don't touch this spot. You only touch these sides. You avoid this spot because there are chances that you might contaminate the specimen. Yeah? After that, we have this manual. It's called manual punch, and this manual punch has been designed such that, or it has been calibrated to punch at least 3 millimeters of size of the specimen. So we'll keep on repeating the same thing until we are done with the preparation of 80 samples.
The samples are then diluted in a special solution. This is done through an automatic pipette that is calibrated to a specification required. After an hour, the sample is ready for use.
Each well, the same 50, same 50. Your preparation will look like this. You can see. Can you see it? Eh? You can see it.
The Migele machine comes with other supporting gadgets, including the water bath machine. So how exactly does this machine work?
This electrophoresis unit, as you can see it has different electrodes. You can see the electrodes. These are the electrodes. And these are cooling surface. This is what cooling surface.
So this is where we put our samples. There is a gel we use. The gel is placed here, and this is where the samples are placed. We use the IEF, isoelectric focusing technique. So we have to have these are electrodes. So the HB runs through the electrodes, and that is where we get our results from.
The temperature will begin to come down.
Okay.
In some time, let's give it 20 minutes. You realize that this temperature has dropped. Now it's 24 degrees. But as time goes by, it will begin to drop. And as it drops, if you touch this side or this area or this surface, you realize it's very, very cold. This side surface. That means the technique is all about it's all about separation of those proteins. Requires very low temperature. Is putting 1 ml of water at the cooling to facilitate the gel to stick to the cooling surface, so that when you are doing your preparation, it will not move. Yeah. Yes. When holding the gel, whatever she's doing, you have to hold it from edges of that's why you are seeing she's holding at the edges, and you insert it at the middle, and you make sure the water has evenly saturated the entire gel. You make also sure that there are no air bubbles. As you can see, our gel is evenly saturated. It's used for blotting or removing of excess water. That's exactly what she's doing. So that it may not interfere with our preparation. Yes. Then you remove it. She's wiping the edges so that the gel can be clean and dry. She's removing excess water at the edges. Sample application strips or templates. Now, as you can see, these wells, these templates, it has wells. These wells are 44 wells per each template. Now, you hold it at the edges. Then you make sure you put it at 1. You can see our one marker here. You make sure that you put it in a correct position. Straight. Run your fingers or one of your finger along there so that to remove excess, you do it like this. Excess or air bubbles, to remove air bubbles. Like the edges using this clean paper towel. We have a non-control here, and this control has A, HBA, F, S, and C. So, and you pipette at least 5 microliter of the solution, both the specimen and the control, to the well on both sides, and 1 in the middle on your right side, and 2 in the middle on the left side. We are going to take our sample based on the way we've indicated the numbers, and the way we've also put the unique identification codes. On each specimen, you'll have to pipette at least 5 microliter the specimen. Okay. I'll take my 5 microliter of the sample and insert it on this well. Yes. Again, I'll rinse using deionized water to avoid to reuse and to avoid the contamination of the sample. I'll go to 2A. I'll put my sample there. I'll repeat the same. When you are pipetting the samples to each well, you have to be very careful because the process requires a lot of concentration.
Because the machine uses electrodes, so this is how we prepare our electrodes. We have these are called electrode wheels. And then here we have cathode solution. For cathode, it runs in the middle of the machine only. So I'll prepare 1 week for the cathode solution and 2 weeks for the anode solution. So you have to saturate properly so that you can get a fair, normal result.
80 samples. That means there are sample for 80 newborns. Placing your cathode wick, the cathode wick, we'll place it at 0 mark. You can see 0 mark at this position. You make sure it's straight. Make sure it's straight, as you can see. Then you run along your fingers. You put it just on your left side at a 8 mark. You can see the 8 marker, and you make sure that it's straight. You can see, because cathode is a positive and anode is negative. When they come into contact, they might react and cause maybe your result might be false at the end of your run, because there are likely chances to be a reaction.
And also the machine is in such a way that this is the cathode part and these are the anode parts.
Yeah. We make sure that the electrodes, they touch the wicks. Can you see? They are touching the wicks, Yeah? You can see very clearly. Make sure. Anode, cathode, anode. You can see. Now you can see your preparation and it's ready to be run. Now you'll have to close the preparation.
There is a waiting period of 1.5 hours.
Once you're through, see, it's changing color, you can see. Those are our results. You can see them. Here in Kenya, the most common type of HB, we have HbA, which is common in adult, HbF in newborns. Actually, HbF is found in newborns when she's or he is in the mother's womb. But immediately a baby is born, the HbF is replaced by HbA. And we also have HbS. HbS, that's a sickle kind of HB, and HbC, which is very rare here in Kenya. So our control has HbA, F, S, and C. Are we together? A, now you can see here, these dots, the lines you are seeing, A, F, S, and C. We are going to interpretation part of these slides. The one you are seeing here is blood colors. That means there is a problem. The one you are seeing above, S. You see S. Anything you see S, you know that person has a problem. Either is a carrier or a true sickle. Of carriers. A lot of carriers. This is a carrier, for example, is a carrier. It's a carrier. This one is a carrier.
That's Kisumu for you.
Yeah. Carrier. Carrier. This carrier. 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 We have another one called G filler, Philadelphia. We have carrier.
The 80 that we have.
Yes.
How many carriers do we have in comparison to the total number that we tested?
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
18 carriers out of the 80 samples that we have taken.
Exactly.
A lot more still needs to be done to change the perpetuated negative impact of the prevalence of sickle cell in Kisumu County.
The installation of this machine is not an end in itself. It is the beginning of a major journey of transformation within the health sector in this city and in this country.
Lorraine Anyango, JOOTRH, Kisumu.